Hey everyone, it's Jeannie from A1 Vacuum and Sewing, and I am getting ready to start July's mini quilt. I know I'm a month late, but better late than never. And so what I'm going to do is first thing is stitch out the heart. So there is a spreadsheet, and I left it all the way over here across the room. Let me grab it. I did the prep video last night for the July mini quilt as well as the August mini quilt. Both of those are posted on YouTube. And then we're just going to go ahead and work through these designs. So the first thing I'm going to do is the heart. And that's going to be on page 12. Got it already there. I'm going to be using a 7x12 magnetic hoop. I already have it hooped up with my muslin ready to go. Because I'm doing the quilting, it bumps you into a 6.5 by 6.5 inch size, which means you cannot do it in the 6x10, which means you have to move up in hoop size. So I'm going to take this and go ahead and slide it onto my machine. As far as thread colors goes, I'm going to be using Marlin, Taffy, Cool Mint, and Wildflower, which is like my favorite red. And I buy it in the King Cone because I use so much of it. And let's go ahead and load this to the machine. Oh, I forgot to grab our fabric. This is the fabric that you're going to be using. I didn't label everything because there's 4 different designs, so we can figure it all out. But you are going to need your background fabric with Shape Flex, your 2 halves of your hearts with Shape Flex, 6x6 batting, and your embroidery leather. And now we are ready. Let me put this close to the machine and this over here. And let's go ahead and get stitching. Whoops, there go my papers. I came over here to load my design and realized I don't even have this on my USB. So I just did that. Okay. If you look at your spreadsheet, and my spreadsheet, this is just the information that is found in your book, but I kind of pull the important stuff that I know I need. But this is where it tells you what quilting design you're going to use, the color, there's a key code, and I kind of match it to the fabrics. So I do some of that for you to make it easier. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to return because I just put my USB back in. I'm in my upper USB. I created a folder that is mini quilts July through December. We are going to load the background quilting first. So I have a folder here that says background quilting, food 6, 6x6. So food 6 and 6x6. These are just the designs that are going to be in these projects. I don't have all of the design. Is that so cute? Let's choose our hoop size. You can see right now it's not fitting in the hoop size I chose, which was 5x7. That's what I was just working on. I'm going to put 7x12 in. Go ahead and load that. We're going to add our design. So we're going to add Heart USA. If you're doing the Canada version, there is a Canada version. You can do that one. And this is July. And there's the Canada version, but I'm doing this one because I live in the US. Let's go ahead and set that. And we are going to quilt first. I'm going to be adding in the thread colors, and then I will update the spreadsheet. So this is supposed to be centered. That information is right here in your book. It says centered. And after quilting, go to embroidery instructions. So we know that we are going to quilt first. So I'm going to hit embroidery. It will combine these 2 designs, make them as one. So when I move them, I'm going to go layout, move, and I'm going to scoot it up. And what that does is that takes advantage of all of my muslin. And since my hoop's on, it won't go outside of my embroidery field. I'm going to go ahead and say okay. I'm going to touch this button here. This is where we can go forwards and backwards stitches, and we are ready to go. First thing it shows is the placement line for your batting. It's in turquoise. It does not mean turquoise thread. It just means that we are going to be doing a placement stitch first. And what color should we use? I'm going to put in, not taffy, but let's just put in, I'm going to put in this Cool Mint. I'm going to put Cool Mint in because I want a color that's going to contrast my background fabric for when I fussy cut it later. And here we go. Placement stitch. I have an 8012 Microtex needle in there. I'm using my spray tent. So this is my dime spray tent right here. I'm gonna go ahead and spray my batting as well as the back of my background fabric. And the spray I'm using is Ganold KK 100. It'd be there in my top 5 products that I can't live without. You're gonna see that they call for tape a lot of the times, but last thing you wanna do is tape your batting. It's just gonna like pull it apart. So I am a sprayer. If you don't like spray, go ahead and tape. I mean, batting is really kind of sticky and grippy anyways. You could just probably lay it down. I'm going to spray the back of my my background piece. Don't go crazy. I always tell people it's not Aquanet in the 80s. We are not trying to see how big you can get your hair to be. We are just going to have it, hold it down so it doesn't move around. Feel, make sure you have about an inch all the way around, then you can press it down. And we're going to skip some steps. Because we cut our batting to size, we're going to skip the next step, which is tack down. Orange is tack down in Kimberbell's world. Turquoise is placement for the background. We already placed it. And orange is tack down for the background. I did cool mint so you could see it contrast. So when we press and iron, and I call this tickling my fabric. I'm just kind of pulling it so it's taut. Now we're going to do the background stitching. Look at your screen. You should see background stitching there. Your quilting stitch. I'm going to put my taffy in and let's stitch away. I should get another taffy. Like I'm almost out. Taffy. I love taffy. I better grab one today. Patrick and I are going to run the store, do a couple orders, make sure shop looks never quite looks good, but make sure it looks acceptable. Oh, I have an extra taffy. I do. I was prepared. I'm the type that when there's a couple rolls of toilet paper left, I get more. Patrick waits until we're all out. I want that thread. I'll just get him later. Okay, this is 2 minutes of stitching. After we do this, I'm going to go ahead and spray the rest of my background fabric. So this one right here you need to be careful of because it's royal icing and it's the same color as the Shape Flex. But I'm going to spray both of those and those will be ready to go. I'm just going to put them in my spray tent and move them to the side. I'm not going to spray the leather until later. And just know the spray will kind of sweat through. This is a 21-minute stitch out, which means it's probably like 40 minutes. Because we have to cut and do some stuff. Okay, so after the quilting, we're going to go to the embroidery instructions right here. This means thread color does not make a difference. We're going to load the embroidery file, which we've already done. We're going to stitch the left side of the heart placement line and place the left side of the heart fabric. That's going to be this side over here, and I think that is going to be the it's called Ice Castle, but that kind of like mint green. All of this looks like just placement and cut. I'll probably put cool mint in there, even though you don't need to. But I think that'll be a good contrast. This might be a little dark. Look at how cute. Watermelons, popsicles. I was trying to figure out what that says, and it says sweet. Sweet. Cute. I'm going to put in my Cool Mint. And again, color doesn't make a difference, but I don't know. I just worry sometimes when it's a light color and you do a dark color that a thread might show through in my satin stitch, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. This is the placement stitch for the left side of your heart. You want to go ahead and grab this piece of fabric, which is like that mint green. And we are doing step number 1, which is the left side of the heart placement line. We're going to place our fabric right side up, just like this. I'm not using tape because I sprayed mine. It's going to tack it down, and then we're going to trim. Whoop. Just place it down. Did that not cut? And then we're going to trim, and then we're going to place the right side, and then we're going to trim. Let me use these are my big ones. And these were the first pair of like nice applique scissors I got. Like I didn't have anyone to teach me anything. So I used those, like my first machine was a Baby Lock. And so I used those turquoise handled scissors that came with the machine that were just a straight blade for like so long because I just didn't even know there was anything else out there. Double curved is the way to go. I dropped my snips. I'm gonna look for it. I just can't believe I lost them. Okay, we're gonna lay down the other side of the heart. Oh, and I don't have my shape flex all the way to the edge, so I have to be a little bit more mindful of how I put this down. You want to make sure that it's covering the whole thing. You have to have that shape flex. If you don't, I mean, I can see that pink coming through a little bit. If you didn't have the shape flex, you would see like all pink behind that heart. You don't want that. Then we're going to stitch the stripes placement line. Let's go ahead, trim this. Oh, I was like, why won't my scissors move? My tassel was getting caught in my magnets. This just has a little heft to it, you know what I mean? Power. Sometimes I forget how powerful these are. All right. Go ahead, slide this back on, put in your red thread. It wants to stitch out the stripes placement line and place the stripes leather right side up. Stitch the stripes tack down. Do we really have to, honestly, do I have to do that next step? Because then it's going to do the tack down. I'm going to skip that. Because if the tack down is going to go right on top of, let me take a look. Yeah, the tack down is going right on top of that. We know where the red leather is going to go. So why put the time and energy into that? I'm going to go ahead and spray my leather. Sorry, just hit the filming arm. Where are you, leather? I'm going to skip that placement stitch and I'm going to go right to the tack down. This is going to go on the right hand side. I'm just going to cover that heart. I'm going to put it like this to make sure I cover the whole heart. Sometimes your spray will sweat through a little bit, but it's okay. And then this is placement. I'm going to go tack down. I'm skipping that. I'm making the executive decision, and it does want you to put in your red thread. That's just going to save us a whole bunch of time, doesn't it? Maybe a little bit. We're going to trim the leather close to the outer stitch line shown in white. So right now we are doing the stripes tack down, which is this right here. We're doing it in red, even though it shows it in white. This shows you the color we're using. And then we're going to trim the leather close to the outer stitch line shown in white. And then it says trim the leather as desired along the top and bottom of the stripes. So I think it's going to do an outline stitch that we're going to trim it close to. And then these you can trim as desired. Which means trim as desired to me means I need my straight. Just trim close means I need my curved. Trim as desired means I need my straight too. So I'm looking for my curved straight scissors. So curved, here are my curved straight. And we are 7 minutes into our 21-minute stitch out. I just chose not to do that placement line because you knew it was going to go over the right side of the heart. So you kind of had a placement line already. If you feel like you might have trouble judging where it's going to go, do the whole placement line. Oh my goodness. I have no idea when I stopped the recording, but I'm 8 minutes into my stitching. So what I've done, hopefully, I just realized the video was paused. So I did my quilting and I laid down my mint green on this side and my royal icing white on this other side. I just put down my leather, and what I did was I skipped the placement stitch and I only did the tack down stitch because I knew the leather was going to be covering that side of the heart. So I'm so sorry. I've been talking to you and sewing with you this whole time, but I did not have my recording going. So anyways, you're joining me midway. I only stitched these out once. So that's just a brief explanation of what I've done. The only thing I've done differently from the instructions was I did not do the placement lines for those red leather stripes. I just laid down my leather so it covered the right side of the heart. And then I did the tack down line. When you trim, you're going to trim close around the outer edges and then as desired in between the stripes. So I used my curved to do the outer edges and my curved straight to do the inner stripes. Holy cow, how did that happen? Maybe I did film it and I just accidentally hit? I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see what I got in there. I don't even remember hitting that pause button. Okay, after we do this outline stitch, what we're doing right now, whoops, broken needle. That's okay. Sometimes it just hits and it breaks. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that thread. I'm going to take out that needle. Your needle this should never be loose enough. The needle bar screw should never be loose enough for you to undo by hand. You should always have to use a screwdriver. Let's take that out. I'm going to just throw it in the trash. And we're going through a lot right here. I do not know where the other end of that needle went. Let's see if we can find it on the other underside. And it just hit something it didn't like. Sometimes that just happens. Or, oh, you know what? My red thread got tight. So my red thread got stuck. What I didn't do is I didn't close this and the red thread got stuck under here. And then it couldn't feed out. So you need to be careful of things like that. Always close those. So it got stuck in sewing in one place, couldn't move. So let's go ahead and put another needle in. We're going to go back a couple stitches. So these are my favorite 2 needles. This is my favorite for embroidery. I'll just pop one of these in. It's a 7511. Oh, wait, this isn't embroidery. Well, this is embroidery, but this is EBBRs for my multi-needle. So I'll use these. This is my favorite all-round needle. Like if I had to pick one needle to use for the rest of my life, it's the Microtex 8012. So I'll pop that back in. You're going to put it in. Make sure it's all the way up. I want you to be OCD. Make sure it's all the way up. Hand tighten it, and then you're going to take your screwdriver and you're going to tighten it a little bit more. I still can't find my green handled one. If it continues on, I did find it, and then I don't know where I put it. Then I'm going to bring another one home. If your needles are falling out, that means you are not tightening it enough. You don't want to crank it down, but you want it to go down where it's not going to, whoops, sorry about that. Not where it's falling out, because that's always scary too. You're like, what's going on? Oh my God. I'm going to go back, let's say 20 stitches. Let's see. Let's go back 30. There we go. 30 looks good. Okay, if your needle breaks like that, you're going to follow your thread path back. And you're going to go, what caused my needle to break? For me, it got stuck underneath that, the part where you like clamp it down to hold your thread. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to put in our cool mint, and we're going to satin stitch the left side of the heart. I'm going to put down cool mint if I can find mine. Oh, that's right. I dropped it into my box. This is going to be a short video because I didn't film half of it. So sorry. Might be good that I'm using an 8012 because this is going through some heavy stuff. So if your needle breaks, you can always go up to a bigger size. Wow, they are really stitching this down. I don't know if I've ever had a satin stitch quite this hefty. All right, cool mint next, or whatever color you want. I kind of played with the idea of pistachio too, but I think the cool mint looked better. And again, the colors that I'm talking about, these are glide colors. We have 7 more minutes of stitching left. It's going to satin stitch the left side of the heart. And then all we have to do are the little stars. So right now we're doing step 8, stitch the left side of the heart satin outline, and then we're gonna stitch, I was just going through something thick, stitch the star fills and remove the block from the hoop. And the next one we're gonna do after this, which I'm not gonna do because I'm gonna run to the store, is going to be the popsicles. You need a hefty needle. That might bust your 7511. These stitches don't even look like they're down there, but they are. They look like they're floating up in the air. And from the looks of it, I think this is the only satin stitch. I wonder if it did that thick satin stitch to hold down the leather. I just love mini quilts. I love the idea that this is just 4 little mini quilts and then they're done. 4 little blocks that you sew together, and then this mini quilt is done, is what I meant to say. And how cute is this? But it says sweet right there, and it has a little popsicle. I have been a mad stitching queen. this is 5 minutes of stitching. It's going to stitch out 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stars, and then this block is done. Oh my goodness. You just can't tell how cute these are until they stitch out. And it has a little bit of dimension to it. It'll be interesting to watch this video to see what part I cut out by pausing it and not realizing. Didn't that sounded funny, didn't it? Trust your mama ears. If you hear something funny, stop and investigate. are done. So this is the Heart USA. Next thing we're going to do is the popsicle. See you in a little bit.